Okay, let's start with some basic drawing techniques. One of them, of course, is to bring in a scan or a photograph that you could use as a template that you could use to get you started. In this case, my son has made some drawings here. And so I'm going to start with a new file inside of Illustrator by going under File, New. And I'm just going to use the default settings by hitting OK. Then I'm going to bring in my scan by using the File Place option. So if I go under File Place, I can then go find my drawing. My kid's drawing is the file that you can use also. And it'll place it on there. Now it's going to be kind of big because I scanned it really big so we could have some detail, but I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. So you'll see it takes up the whole space, and I'm using the Control minus to zoom out and Control plus to zoom in. Control minus to zoom out, Control plus to zoom in, Control minus, Control plus, Control minus. Once I move out all the way, I can then grab the edge of my scan here and shrink it down and if you hold the shift key down, it keeps it in proportion as you're scaling. So again, by putting your cursor along the edge of the document, the scan here, you can shrink it down. And I'm just going to move it into my artboard area so I can see it. I like to make it kind of big so I have a lot of detail that I could use for making my drawing. Let's do the I kind of like this little piggy up here, so I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, and then if you have a simple drawing like that and it has that kind of characteristics, don't think that you need to make everything all nice and perfect and beautiful. One of the things about drawing in Illustrator is things can be a little rough. Again, making certain decisions about what is behind something else is a quick and easy way. I usually start with things that are behind and work my way forward, and what I mean by that is if I'm going to use the pen tool right now. And later on we could apply maybe a rough stroke to give it more of a rough look. But for right now, again, I'm going to turn off my fill by hitting the red line that says no. And then I might change the color of the stroke just so I can see it as I'm working, using a black or some other color besides black, just so that we could see when we're working. Because if I use black, the lines are black in the drawing, so using a color like red or something might stand out a little better. So I'm going to use the pen tool. Before I start drawing with the pen tool, if you want, you can change the stroke. That's underneath window. You can get to the stroke option so that when you're drawing with the stroke, you could see it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to change the stroke option here to a little bit larger, probably like around 3, so that I could see it a little bit better. By using a really small one, it's hard to see what you're doing. You can always change these options later on as you're working. But I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Again, it's the Control plus, or on a Mac it would be the Apple plus. And I'm going to start with this ear because that one's probably pretty far behind, and as I'm drawing you can barely see what I'm doing because it's blue and the background's blue, but then you'll start seeing the red line. And don't worry about what it looks like. I'm just going to go and make a little oval like that. And I'm going to just go and draw another oval like this. I'm just putting points down and dragging. That's how you make an anchor point. And always go back to the last point when you're drawing with the pen tool. Probably remember that from the first class when we were drawing with the pen tool. Again, I'm always just drawing and following the shapes that I've made here with this. And I'm clicking and dragging the mouse to make the arcs. Arcs are made by clicking and dragging with the pen tool. And if you haven't practice the pen tool, you can follow the handout. There's a handout and some tutorials that you can follow that'll teach you how to use the pen tool a little bit better. And in fact, this one I'm going to kind of cross a little bit so I get a little twist in there. Always go back to the beginning. And then this one I'm going to, don't worry about what it looks like, maybe behind the area. Like here, see how I just put my cursor up in there? I'm not going to worry about what that looks like because again, that's going to be behind the shape here. So all I'm doing is quickly just dragging and putting points down. You can always go back and adjust those points later. Spacebar will give you a hand so that you can move the window around without having to zoom in and out. So as I'm drawing here, it's quite simple, clicking and dragging with the mouse. Just clicking and dragging a little bit. The drag gives you the arc that you want. And don't be perfect. Life is not perfect. Drawing in Illustrator is not perfect. It can be a little rough. And then, oh, let's give our piggy a nose here. He's got a nice nose here. And then maybe we'll make it a little bigger. So, oh, no, maybe not. Can always fix it later. Don't worry about what it looks like. Let's give him some eyes. We can change it later. Don't worry about what it looks like. And then the mouth will just give a nice kind of curve like this, and we won't complete the mouth there. Okay, again, just like you saw when we were doing the bird, or at least looking at the bird in the last example, all I did was use the pen tool to draw some shapes. Now I'm going to color it in. Again, it's quite easy to color things in. You just select the object you want. We're going to go and add the fill as the top one. What I mean by the top one is if I click on the stroke, you see it's above the fill. If I click on the fill, it's above the stroke. So by clicking on it as it's above, then it knows, the Illustrator knows that's what you want to color as the fill. So let's make the ears the same color. To select both ears at the same time, so I have one ear selected now. If I hold the Shift key down and click on the line itself, not inside, on the line itself, allows me to select both ears, and then I can give them a color. Okay, oh, pink, yeah, there we go, nice light color there. For his body, I'm going to select the color, maybe a little bit darker pink. There we go. And then the tail, maybe even a little bit darker still. And the feet, don't worry about order or what it looks like. Let's select all the feet. I'm using the Shift key to select all the feet. And then let's give that a kind of a dark color. And then his head, let's make that a little bit lighter. And then his nose, let's make it dark. And then, oh, you know what? We should add probably some little nostrils for his nose here. Let's use the pen tool again and just draw a couple little round circles there. There we go. Maybe move that one. To move something, you just click on it and you can simply drag with the mouse. There we go. Oh, let's give his eyes some color. Let's just black his eyes out. There we go. He's starting to look pretty good, isn't he? Okay, so let's reorder some of this stuff. So this looks okay here. It's a little rough. I might want to clean this up right here. What I mean by that is this line right here is a little rough. You can see this right here. In Illustrator, it's once you get points that are kind of rough like this, you either delete the point, that one way to remove a point inside of Illustrator, and let me zoom in a little bit further so you can see there's a little blue dot right here, that's a point. You can remove one if you have too many by using the minus anchor point tool under the pen tool right here. There's a minus one. So if I use the minus one, I can click on it, and there, that makes it a little bit smoother because I think I had a little bit too many points in there. So just by doing that, I can adjust how the pen tool works. Let's move the feet back. I'm going to click on all the feet here and say Object, Arrange, Send Backward. Oh, didn't work. Oh, Object, Arrange, Send Backward. There we go. It sent it behind there. So you might need to do a little more than 1 or 2 times to do that. And with the tail, I kind of like it over top of the object there. So you can see you can make simple kind of objects like that really fast and easy just by using a scan and then using the pen tool and going right over top of it. And then if you want, you can get rid of your scan and you got your pig all there. So a simple way of drawing is just by clicking and dragging with the pen tool, turning it off and then adding the color later. You can make simple objects just like this.